Okay. Testing. I'm not immediately feeling any other presence within the space. Alright. I guess I actually scared him off. So with that, greetings and salutations, denizens of YouTube, and ultimate jerk, if you're listening to this. My name is Ichi Charmed, and today we'll be doing a true and proper video on the Prince of Hearts, and I guess Dirk Strider as a whole as well. So please be sure to like and share this video, because with your help, I might be able to make it onto the Homestuck animated series as a voice actor.
Yes, we get it. You want to ride what little waves your channel is making in order to get your 15 picoseconds of fame for a show with a pilot episode a good chunk of fans didn't even like.
The Prince is the active counterpart to the Bard. Princes destroy their aspect and destroy through their aspect, like how Aridin destroyed Hope through Hope by using his white magic to blast a matriarch to pieces, or how Dirk seems to be able to destroy souls by ripping them out of the enemy or splinter his soul and implant the fragments into others, or how Kurlaz seems to destroy Rage by having Mulin not be angry at him despite being the reason she's deaf. Princes also don't lack their aspect, but instead try to contain it. The examples and references to back this up are mentioned in my Prince of Void Redux video, so check that out please. This class also seems to be cocky at times, like how Dirk assumed he'd actually be the one controlling his team behind the scenes, or how Aridin is just himself. At worst, a prince's arrogance can be their own destructive undoing in one way or another. At their best, however, they're competent leaders and powerful allies, with a healthy amount of confidence in their actions, capable of destroying their foes with ease in order to protect that which they care about most. Heart is the inverse of mind, and has to do with the actual heart, the soul, love, empathy, emotions, and identities. Heart isn't just romance and shipping and whatnot. It also has to do with the soul, like with Dirk's ability to rip them out of people. According to the Extended Zodiac, the Heartbound are very concerned and focused on themselves and expression of the self. Not necessarily being arrogant, but maybe somewhat self-obsessed because, hey, why not be a little bit obsessed with the one person you'll always be around no matter what? Every decision they make builds towards the ideal self, putting on and taking off masks as needed. At their best, they are competent, imaginative, and steady. At their worst, they can be overbearing, inflexible, and cold. The Prince of Hearts, a destroyer of souls, a literally self-destructive existence. And maybe the most innately arrogant of class specs, due to her prince being, well, a prince, and the heart being about the self. That kind of describes the bedrock personality of the usual prince. They'd love and adore themselves, thinking they're better than most people, yes, but they'd also have an innate self-hatred of themselves, or perhaps self-destructive hurts, habits, and hang-ups, ironically causing damage to the ideal self they're trying to build up, destroying their own relationships and maybe even the relationships of others in order to have as many people as possible rally against them. However, a healthy Prince of Heart could find a balance of logic and emotion, being capable of slicing through the maelstrom of emotion that rips and tears inside of them, and being able to assist their loved ones when their hearts go out of control too, in their own way. If they could manage to keep a steady head, perhaps the prince could even become a hero instead of a villain, if they could stop getting in their own way.
Oh, don't think you're anything clever with that little jab at the end.
As for their powers and abilities, for one reason or another, you already have a solid idea of what a Prince of Heart could do. Ripping out people's souls, hypnosis via eye contact. Maybe they could do the stuff Ultimate Dirk can do with enough training and hyperfocus. Who knows? The Prince could likely also, well, blow themselves up in a last-ditch effort to take out a powerful opponent, destroying themselves to destroy their target both physically and spiritually. Hopefully this is done for the sake of heroics. Ooh, and maybe they'd have attacks capable of directly damaging someone's soul or sense of self along with doing physical damage. That'd be dangerously awesome too.
Hello? Can you even hear me? Are you ignoring me? Hello?
And I suppose this is as good a time as any to talk about the character himself, Dirk Strider, and his ultimate self, well, Ultimate Dirk. obviously.
You totally are. Hang on. Let me just find the wavelength of this multiverse VPN you apparently have.
Over an unspecified amount of time, I've come to appreciate Dirk Strider more as a character. He acts like a cold, calculating, unfeeling machine on the surface, when almost every single one of his decisions are determined by a burning hot passion to keep his friends as safe as possible. Even if he's sometimes a control freak while doing so, unfortunately. He's also almost burdened by a heavy sense of self-hatred, ironically, due to these qualities of his, seeing himself as a villain at times and beating himself up for these same actions, creating a cycle that keeps feeding into itself. Especially when it comes to his clearly passionate attraction to one Jake English. When he's at his highest moments, yeah, Dirk probably feels and looks like the coolest guy ever and some flawless paragon of awesomeness. But he's still a heavily flawed teenager who makes emotionally charged mistakes from time to time, like when he killed the hegemony brute and instead of handling the body as stealthily as possible, decided to follow Calliope's advice and boldly declared his actions and the fact that he had awakened, drawing the ire of her imperious condescension and the draconian dignitary, which led to a reaction I'm sure we're all aware of. I would argue that the greatest part about Dirk is, again, him viewing himself as this awful person and potential villain, and yet always trying his best to stay as far away from crossing that line as possible. He climbs the hill of betterment, hating himself the entire journey but refusing to tumble all the way down. He's flawed but cool, in his own genuine way, which is why my arguably biggest issue with Ultimate Dirk is that
Are you confirmed? Decide. Ours don't have to. Come.
All right. Greetings and salutations, you eager, slop-consuming sheeple of this channel. It's your favorite prince here once again to interrupt this second attempt at mudslinging towards my good name. What else is new? Am I right?
oh hey, perfect timing! I prepared a seat for you right here.
What?
Yeah, like I said, perfect timing. I have a seat for you right over here, in that spot. You know, where the chair is located.
I do have eyes, despite what you might think because of the sweet shades. I'm confused because you're acting as if you knew I'd come back to this clown fiesta.
Well, yeah, I did. Of course you'd come back. If you're willing to pester and spite a freaking muse of space who is trying to lessen and usurp your power over the narrative, then there's no way you take 7 different flavors of brain aneurysm from someone like me and just let it go.
I suppose that makes sense.
Cool. So, like I said, my biggest issue with you.
Okay. And what would that be?
Despite being the amalgamation of every possible Dirk through time, space, and existence itself, I personally feel like you're a worse, lesser version of the Dirk Strider the fandom had come to know.
Amazing. You pull up an admittedly really comfortable chair for me to sit down in and use this opportunity to...
I'm serious. Your character feels lessened when you became a villain. Your character originally used to be about you trying your best to stay above the seemingly infinite ocean of you, striving to maintain being a somewhat decent person despite your controlling nature and self-destructive urges. Because you loved and cared for your friends, and those who were more than friends. But then you hypnotized Rose into placing her essence in a robot vessel of your making. You manipulated the narrative so John died because you thought he was boring and didn't deserve his powers, I guess? You did who knows how much mental and spiritual damage to Jake because you were still upset about your heart being broken, and you were ready to force Rose back to your side the instant you felt like her convictions were swaying in a direction you didn't like. Does that sound like the actions of a god who follows cold steel logic, ultimately for the sake of others?
Characters change, Ichi. They change. They improve. I have improved. I am the one person who's found the last 10% missing from near perfection and added it to what was already there, to what was already great. If I need to become a piece of shit to do it, then what the hell? Sure, that's a road I'll walk down.
Exactly! You were already great. We didn't need you or Jane to become villains. We could have reused Calibor and Gamzee or Kurlaz or Damara. Maybe even make up a whole new villain.
We wouldn't have had time to build up a new villain, and no one would have been as interested. Besides, you would prefer the hot, stinking breath and unyielding attention of some impotent, unreasoning, unfeeling jackass?
And that's different from you how?
It's different because they knew that I was the better option.
Well, I think you can still be better.
You think that perfection can be improved upon? I thought that I was ambitious.
I don't think you're perfect. Far from it, in fact. I don't think anyone is perfect.
And where are you going with all of this, Charmed? More pathetic, paltry platitudes? Are you planning to philosophize me to death? Wear down my steel mask with the power of love and friendship because your brand of it is somehow so much greater than what was provided by who I left behind?
No. To be honest, and at the risk of sounding arrogant, I see some of myself in you.
What?
I see some of myself in you. The self-loathing. Sometimes seeing myself as a villain for my past mistakes and actions, trying to do what's right for those you care about. The difference between us, though, is that while I might be willing to become a villain and sacrifice myself for the good of those I love, I'd rather try and be a hero. A shield that protects others. And I think such a path is still open to you. If you're willing to stop walking the one you're on now and walk the alternative route instead. A katana doesn't always need to destroy, after all.
I only destroy what needs to be destroyed.
Well, maybe you can somehow create instead. Or go back home and work together with everyone. Maybe try protecting as a whole?
I'm done with my past, whether my past is done with me or not. I'm done caring for people who don't matter, for people who are content running headfirst into the narrative dead-end equivalent of a brick wall.
Do you think you'll be able to say that once you meet them face to face? Prince or not, do you think yourself capable of completely throwing away your humanity, despite everything?
I will throw away and destroy anything that's not useful to me or my machinations. And if you continue to waste my time with this, I will do everything with the power at my disposal to crush you like a bug before you even get a chance to become something vaguely resembling a threat to me.
Fine. Fine. I won't waste your time anymore. I'm not a thief or rogue of time, after all.
If you were, you might have been someone worthy of my attention, and possibly even fear. I'm gonna go now. Species to create, a narrative to aim in the right direction. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're truly determined to stop me, come face me when you're stronger. Or when you hit 1,000 subscribers, whichever comes first.
Yeah, fair. Not gonna lie, I need to train and really analyze the types of powers and abilities I have as a bard of mine.
Right. Wouldn't want you disrespecting me by going into this potentially epic battle half-cocked.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and before you go, I wanted to bounce an idea off of you that a commenter of mine brought up.
Go on and be quick about it.
Alright, so Shy Sorcerer says that she noticed you and Jake acting like fledgling versions of the master classes with the powers y'all have displayed already, and the potential powers y'all might have in the future. You know, as a sort of Lord of Heart and Jake as a sort of Muse of Hope. Especially when they brought up you and Ultimate Jake from Analysistuck. What do you think about that?
Interesting theory and deduction. If there was anybody that would be able to shift our classes into the higher echelons of power, it would be me and English. Guess we'll have to see if the powers that be of Beyond Canon can do anything with that theory.
Well, there you have it, shy sorcerer.
Anyways, I am out of here, and likely will not be coming back. Goodbye and good riddance.
Wait! I'd like to say something first.
You are truly wasting my time, but fine. What else could you possibly have to say, Bard?
I really do think redemption is on the table. For you.
Redemption. Me.
Yes. If only you would accept, lost little starbeam.
Even if I were worthy of redemption, that would require me to stop walking the path I'm on now. And I can't stop. I will never stop. I refuse to be a whimpering victim to narrative obscurity and authorial abandonment. And someone, anyone, offering redemption to me would require them to be above me, reaching down with their olive branch. And I am beneath no one.
I never said I was...
Especially not you.
Well, there's the video, you guys. If you actually want to see me take on Ultimate Dirk in the future, be sure to like and share this video around. If you want to see my power increase further and or want to see more videos, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and leave suggestions in the comments below. My next video will be on the Mage of Rage. So, with that, I bid you dudes, dudettes, and others adieu. Bye.